Welcome back, football romantics, to Episode 7 of our World Cup 2026 Daily Deep Dive. I'm Arthur, your resident custodian of football heritage.
And I'm Nora, ready to cut through the nostalgia with some cold, hard data. We have a massive show today, Dad.
We certainly do, Nora.
Let's start by looking at the specific matches we tracked for today. Saudi Arabia against Uruguay, Iran versus New Zealand, and France taking on Senegal.
The drama in that Saudi Arabia and Uruguay match was palpable. Saudi Arabia holding on, right until the bitter end, when Alois pulls off a spectacular save in stoppage time. You could see Uruguay couldn't believe it, though Araujo had to rescue Uruguay from total embarrassment earlier just to secure that 1-1 draw.
Tactically, Uruguay looked disjointed. They just did not create a lot for a team of their caliber. Bielsa's high-pressing system just wasn't clicking in the final third. The expected goals on target metrics showed they barely troubled the keeper until late.
Well, maybe the pressure is getting to Bielsa off the pitch, too. Did you see his press conference? Defending his bizarre World Cup portrait by shouting, "I'm not a model!" Oh, the characters of this tournament. But moving to Iran and New Zealand, a brilliant 2-2 draw. Twice Iran had to come from behind. Just and Rezaian were absolute stars in a proper back-and-forth battle.
True, but if I'm critical of New Zealand, their defensive metrics were shocking. Their tackles and interceptions per 90 dropped significantly in the second half. They gave up way too much space centrally. But the real story tactically was France versus Senegal. Mbappé gets his 13th World Cup goal, officially breaking his tie with Pelé.
You know, I remember when Pelé's record seemed absolutely untouchable, seeing Mbappé reach that milestone. It's history unfolding right in front of us. The superstar shines again. And that cheeky little chip from Bradley Barcola over Mendy to extend the lead? Pure poetry.
It was, but Senegal will be kicking themselves. Jackson hits the woodwork, and Ismaila Sarr misses a wide-open net late in the first half. If you look at their expected goals on target, Senegal actually outperformed France in a critical 15-minute window. They just lacked clinical finishing. The French flair in the second half did the rest.
That is the cruel reality of the World Cup. Now, speaking of reality and expectations, we need to talk about Portugal.
Yes, let's dive into Portugal. They are fascinating on paper. Looking at their underlying numbers, their XG plus expected assists per 90 is just impressive. But I'm highly critical of their transition defense. They leave massive gaps when their fullbacks push up. Plus, there is huge off-pitch news that the data can't quantify. Roberto Martinez is officially leaving Portugal after this World Cup. The distraction factor is real.
That's a massive shadow hanging over the dressing room. I didn't realize the departure was finalized, but on the pitch, they still have undeniable magic. Will Portugal finally win their first World Cup? Anything is possible when you have Vitinha and Bruno Fernandes orchestrating the midfield. They dictate the tempo beautifully.
They do, but metrics show they struggle against teams with high-pressing triggers. If they meet a squad that can exploit those wide areas, all that midfield control won't save them.
Fair point, Nora. But sometimes, control isn't about running. It's about sheer elegance, which brings me to our legend of the game. Today, I want to talk about Franz Beckenbauer, der Kaiser.
Oh, shifting gears to a defensive mastermind. What do the history books say about him?
More than just a defender, Nora. He invented the modern sweeper role. He had this aura about him, gliding out of the backline with his head held high, looking as though he was wearing a tuxedo rather than a football kit. I vividly remember his sheer willpower in the 1970 World Cup, playing the game of the century against Italy with his dislocated arm strapped in a sling. He commanded the pitch not with noise, but with absolute terrifying composure.
It's amazing because if you map his historical heat maps, or at least the estimated ones based on footage, he essentially played as a modern ball-playing center back decades before it became the standard. The ultimate cheat code for ball progression. But let me bring you back to 2026 with some off-the-pitch internet madness. Have you heard of Tim Payne?
The New Zealand lad? Can't say he's a household name.
Exactly. He was arguably the least known player coming into this World Cup. But overnight, He has gained 5.8 million followers on Instagram because of a viral clip online. It got so crazy that he just secured a sudden transfer to Club Olimpia Asunción in Paraguay solely based on the internet hype. The internet remains undefeated. Also, on the injury front, Neymar has his boots back on for training.
5.8 million people watching a viral clip to secure a club transfer? I will never understand the modern world. Back in my day, you got a transfer by muddying your knees, not by going viral on a smartphone screen. But I suppose that's the circus we love. So, what's on the menu for today's upcoming matches?
We have a packed slate. Iraq taking on Norway, Argentina against Algeria, Austria playing Jordan, Portugal trying to ignore that Martinez news against Congo, and the big one, England facing Croatia.
That England versus Croatia match has immense weight. The history between these two nations is incredibly rich. You know, Luka Modric has been tormenting England for 20 years. Can he do it one more time? Yet, I was reading earlier today, this England team seems less weighed down by their past. They look fresh.
The XG models are predicting a very tight, low-scoring affair, but the tactical battle in the midfield will be immense. I say we watch that one together tonight.
Deal. I'll bring the stories, you bring those tactical charts.
And maybe some snacks, Dad. Thank you to everyone listening to Episode 7. Keep an eye on those XG numbers.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful journey. Join us tomorrow as we break down the aftermath of these clashes. Until then, enjoy the matches.